make sure into your next draft. But for the most part, I'm happy with the way the drafts turned out, right? And you all should be too. But students tend to be hard on themselves sometimes. Okay, so if you need help accessing your assignment, it's the same way that would access it's the same way that you would access your just your regular assignments. Okay, and when you're in your assignment folder, again, just looking at I think for you guys it says evaluation or feedback. Look in that category. Let me swap over this. Oh yeah, for you guys it's evaluation status. So look at the file in that category, and you can see my feedback. All right. Um, just a few things that, again, not well, this really doesn't apply to all of us, but it's just one thing that I want us to just continue to be mindful of: formatting. All right, make sure your essay is formatted properly. Make sure you're using Times New Roman 12 font. Make sure you're double spaced properly. Don't skip 100 lines between every paragraph. Okay, I saw a few like that. Don't try to use an extra large font. All right. Well, yeah, outside of that though, um, like I was saying, the essays turned out pretty well. Okay. Now, here's something that's thrown into the mix for draft number 2. All right. If you look into the week 5 module, okay, you'll see an assignment folder for draft number 2, but there's a couple things I want to show you. Okay. If you click on, and you can follow along with me if you don't have your D2L open, but if you click on week 5 and then you click on instructor chosen essay draft 2, you're going to see this document, instructor chosen essay self-assessment. All right. Now, you have my feedback, right? But again, it's your name going on your essay, and you're putting in the work. And one thing I try to do is try to get students to really just remain engaged, through the revision process. So I want you to complete this document and submit it along with your draft number 2. And this really, attempts to get you to move beyond, again, just like fixing what I was saying last week, like trying to go beyond fixing. All right, because when you revise, you're making real change. So firstly, list at least 3 changes you made from your paper to draft number 1 to draft number 2. Now, don't say, right, oh, my draft number 2 is longer, right, than draft number 1. Of course it is, but you can say why it's longer. You can say, I added more detail about X, Y, and Z, right? That's fine. But again, just think about 3 changes you made. Okay, 3 changes. Maybe you added more, maybe you took more out, or maybe you took something out. Maybe you arranged your paragraphs differently. Maybe you I don't know, just maybe your formatting was different, from the last time. All right. But whatever you do, it's for you guys to have, again, that closeness, to your paper. All right. And then, be honest with this one, because a lot of us, we're still learning our process. So this is fine. So how long did you spend working on draft number 2? Okay, was it Sunday night, you opened it, looked through the changes, made some adjustments, or did you spend some time throughout the week, just kind of tweaking your essay here and there? And that's up to you. And then the follow-up to that is, do you think that was enough time? All right. And only you know the answer to that. And like I said, be honest, because if it wasn't enough time, now moving forward, like, hey, I need to spend more time revising. Okay. What aspect of writing this essay did you struggle with most? Okay. Did you struggle with, detail, trying to decide what to leave and what to remove? Um, did you struggle with really telling your story, right? Sometimes that can be a difficult thing, just getting your story out. And one of the comments I put on a few essays is some of them, just a handful, but were leaning, kind of general, where, these essays are supposed to be specific, meaning like tell a story from your own life. Okay, tell a story from your own life. All right, and try to use as concrete terms as possible. And I get how some of them are general because they expressed a life lesson. But I think as we move forward, think about how that life lesson applies to your own life. Like, how are you living it? And I totally understand we only had 2 pages for this thing, so that can be something that you work on in the next draft. And then, what steps will you take to improve your next draft? Okay, what are you going to do to make your next draft better? There's what I suggested you do in the comments of your own rough draft, but think about what you're going to do, right? Or better yet, when you're looking at your paper, especially when you're looking at it for the first time after you've received some feedback, look at it as if you weren't the writer. Okay, and then think about, what would you, if you were reading this paper, how would you advise this person? Okay, so read your paper as a reader instead of the writer is what I'm saying. Okay, try to detach yourself from it. All right. And then, what advice would you give that writer? And then, these are just yes, no questions. All right. And if the answer is no, think about what you have to work on for draft number 3. Okay. Have you used your opening sentences to evoke the reader's interest? Okay. Have you hooked them in? Right. Have you clearly identified the experience or experiences you're about to relate to your audience and their significance? Okay, and then in the body, are your body paragraphs directly related to your essay's main idea? Are they organized chronologically, meaning like start with what happened first, and continue with that sequence? Okay, the chronological sequence. Are the details you use to develop each of your paragraphs directly related to your essay's main idea? Some essays, and I will be looking more at this in draft number 2, but some of the essays, just some of the comments I will put in a paragraph, this sentence seems out of place, meaning it, not saying it's a bad sentence, but within the context of the paragraph, maybe that sentence didn't fit, and that happens, especially in first drafts. Okay. Are your body paragraphs unified? We're going to talk about paragraph unity this week. So if that doesn't make sense to you right now, we'll get into it. All right, same with this one, transitions. On some of the papers I did comment, practice using transitions, but I'm aware that we haven't gone over that just yet. Damn. Okay, now definitely make sure you answer this one honestly. Okay. Sometimes, um, we will put unnecessary detail or unnecessary material in our essays. Why? To make them longer. Okay, or to make them seem longer. All right, but don't do that in this essay, or really don't do it in any essay. All right. Later in the semester, when we start working on our common essay, we'll talk a little bit more about fluff. But fluff is just stuff that you put in an essay to make it longer. But sentences that don't really say anything. All right. But again, only you can answer this. Have you focused your essay by eliminating unnecessary or repetitious details? Check to see if you're repeating yourself anywhere in your essay. All right. And then check to see if you have, maybe details you don't need. Okay. And a good way to judge that is to ask yourself, what does this have to do with the bigger picture? All right. What's the connection to my main idea? And then finally, have you used enough detail, to recreate your experiences for your reader? Okay. And then some questions about the conclusion. Okay, don't put any new material in your conclusion. And then when I say did you leave your reader with closure? At the end of your essay, you want your reader to feel like they've completed a journey with you. Okay, meaning you've taken them from the beginning to the end, but just be mindful not to leave them expecting more. Okay, like there's no sequel to these essays, right? You just get one shot. So make sure you say all you have to say. Okay. And then this one, we haven't talked about it yet. We'll get into it a little bit this week, but do your best with this one. All right. But now I know we weren't paying that much attention to this in our first draft, and I still don't want this to impede your writing process, but now it is time to start really start cleaning up those grammar and mechanics things. We're going to talk about sentences and paragraphs this week, but for the most part, keep trying your best with this. Have you proofread your essay clearly for spelling mistakes? Ooh, yeah, frequently confused words. Man, I saw this one a lot in this batch of essays. 2 and 2. Okay, then there's another one, but I don't see that one confused that much. So try to catch frequently confused words. And a lot of times we make this mistake just from moving too fast, right? Not taking that time to slow down and go back over your material. Okay. Check for word endings too, right? Do you need a suffix? Okay. When you say in your mind, you say I walked to the store, but sometimes when you write, this is what comes out, right? So make sure you check for word endings. Same thing here. Okay. This is what comes out, but this is what you meant. All right. So make sure you check for these things because stuff like word endings, they're very easy to overlook, especially if you've been spending a lot of time with your paper and if you've been constantly rereading it back to yourself from the screen. A lot of times we will say what we meant to say instead of what we actually or a lot of times we'll read back what we meant to say instead of what's actually there. Okay. So check over that stuff. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. It's getting close to the time where this should be coming more habitual. But again, folks, if it's not, keep practicing and be mindful of what you're doing when you're doing it. And as I keep saying, if you need help formatting your paper, check this module, MLA documentation resources. Like right now, there's no reason for me to be getting papers um where it's like this. Okay. All right, everything's smooth. That's this. I don't know. And then what's today's date? Man. Okay, got that up there. Now I'm gonna start my paper way down here. All right. And then, here's one paragraph, blah, 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 blah. All right. And then here's the start of my next paragraph. Okay. That's not good. That's high school stuff. Okay. Don't space your papers like that. Don't have all these extra spaces. Make sure you're in the right font. And here's why I keep harping on this. One, it's just something that you should know. But two, when you guys get to 1510 next semester, some of your teachers are going to say, hey, let's work on MLA formatting. But other teachers, you're going to get your paper back and it's just going to be -10, like right off top. Before they even read the paper, you got 10 points knocked off for formatting. And whether the teacher, instructs you like, hey, this is how we do MLA formatting, or if they start deducting points, both teachers are right. All right, both teachers are right. So try, to get yourself in the habit of formatting your paper properly. I can't stress that enough. Okay, I can't stress that enough, because when you get to 1510, it's going to become an issue. Meaning, like, it's going to become an issue that could affect, the outcome of your paper. And you're like, man, like, how did I lose 10 points, right off top? Okay. And the teacher's gonna be like, well, I told you MLA formatting. Okay. So practice, with all things, it comes from practice. What we practice grows stronger. Okay. So just be mindful of this. And you can, there's a couple ways to do this. Okay. Oops. Of course, you can do that. Okay. If you have access to a printer and scanner, you can print this out, do it by hand, scan it, put it in the assignment folder. That works too. But make sure you submit this self-assessment. Make sure you submit this along with draft number 2. You can use the same assignment folder for both. So next week, when you upload your material, all right, when you upload your essay, upload this as well. All right, and again, that can be found in this week 5 module. Okay, actually, just click on the assignment itself. And now, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, I'm gonna change the due date to Wednesday instead of Monday. So it'll be June 16th. Okay. Now, another thing, when you get your papers back, folks, there's gonna be some strange colors on there, maybe. Maybe. I didn't go too crazy with it just yet, because there was only I really was trying to focus primarily on content with this paper. But all right, I did start, looking at just some sentence level things, right? So in the week 5 module, I have this handout as well. And it explains um some of the color coding. Well, the color coding. If something's green, like if there's something that's highlighted green, it means it's a fragment. I didn't highlight all of the fragments in there. I just maybe highlighted 1 or 2 just to show you. And then if you click this, let's see if this link is still active. Oh, nice. Okay, very good. Just gives you a quick, should I accept without reading? Okay. Yeah. Okay. This, it just gives you a quick lesson about fragments. All right. And I use this website a lot, Quick and Dirty Tips. Okay, because it really just gets, it gets right to it. Same thing here. If something's blue, it's a run-on or a comma splice. All right. And we'll cover what time it. Yeah, we'll cover these 2 today. All right. If something is yellow, again, I try not to go too crazy with this, but it just means that there's a proofreading issue. It means that something's not right about what you have there. And sometimes I may have corrected it. Other times I just highlighted it and I want you to see it. But when you're going back to your paper, look for this material. Okay. Points of view, we'll come back to, and then coherence, we'll come back to. So right now I just want us to focus, on these elements. Okay. So this is in the week 5 module as well. Okay. That's that about your papers, folks. Okay. Oh, finally, if you have yet to submit draft number 1, that window is still open, right? But you got to get it in ASAP, because we have already started draft number 2. Even though I don't know if you've looked at your papers yet, but we've officially began draft number 2. All right. Also, and I'll add this link to week 5 as well. But especially now, since we have a bit more time, between drafts. What am I looking for? Let's see. Okay. If you want to see a tutor, right, to work, to help you go from draft number 2 or 1 to 2, there's time. Let me check out the tutoring schedule here. There you go. Okay. And of course, you would want to use your home campus, wherever you take classes or wherever you would be taking classes if we were face to face. And it's looking like we'll be back face to face in the fall. Like all signs are pointing in that way. I don't think the college has made an official announcement yet, but it's looking like that's what the word around town is, at least. Okay. So check out this schedule. Okay, there's also and I'll put a link to NetTutor as well. NetTutor, again, if you just want to upload a paper and have a tutor look at it virtually, that'll work too. Just make sure even if you are seeing a tutor, from OCC, if you're just using NetTutor, don't wait till the last minute. Also, if you're going to see one of our tutors, make sure you have the writing assignment to show them. Like show them what you're working on. Okay, show them what you're supposed to do. Okay. Well, there's that. All right. Now, as I was saying before, I know that was a mouthful, but the papers, I'm happy with the way they turned out. Okay. And I'm anticipating draft number 2. One of my what I really like about this paper is it helps me get to know my students. Okay. Helps me get to know my students. And some always say everybody has a story. All right. Everybody has a story. Thank you for sharing yours with me. All right. Now, okay. Let's look at week 5. All right. Um, let's get our books open. Okay. Little Seagull Handbook. All right. If you don't have yours available right now, you can just look on with me. All right. Again, to get here, my people. Oops, I'm typing this in the chat. Okay. So let's go there and get yourself signed in. Okay. And then we want to come all the way down. Okay. We want to go to sentence fragments. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. While you're all navigating to our textbook, let's look at these things. Actually, no. Let's bring that back up here. Okay. Let me enlarge this a little bit. So what is a sentence fragment, my people? Okay, you can answer mentally. All right. All right. And just to review, all right. Material you probably learned 1,000 years ago, all right, or last year, okay, depending on how old you are. All right. But a complete sentence needs a few elements. Okay. First element, right? Obvious, right? Obvious, but not so obvious. Why? Texting. Okay. And sometimes texting and social media can make us forget to capitalize, the start of a new sentence. And, if you're a frequent texter or you're on social media a lot, nothing wrong with that. But when you switch over to an academic mindset, make sure you're paying attention to just the little things like that. Okay. So we know a complete sentence begins with the capital letter and ends Okay, proper concluding punctuation. That's a period. All right, not a comma. All right, I just put that there. Question mark. It looks weird with all these period, comma, exclamation point. Not comma, period. Period, question mark, exclamation point. Okay. Now, here's the nuts and bolts of a sentence, though. All right, what's up with spelling today? All right, so the predicate, is the phrase containing the verb. Okay, so here's our subject. Man, that's it. Okay, and here's our predicate. All right, short and sweet. And then if we put it all together, we're gonna walk through the store, or maybe she did before she walked on. Okay, so the main thing, or one of the main ways to check to see if a sentence is complete. Of course, you can check for a subject and a predicate, but sometimes you can have a subject and a predicate and the sentence will still be a fragment. All right. So one of the most foolproof ways to check the completeness of a sentence, check to see if it expresses a complete thought. Meaning, can it stand by itself and make sense? Can you take it out of the paragraph or there are other sentences surrounding it? And can it make sense by itself? Okay. So, oh, and if it can um stand alone by itself and make sense. All right, I don't want to get too into clauses, but if it can stand by itself and make sense, then it's called an independent clause. All right, we don't have to go too far into that. Now, okay, look at these sentences right here. Going to school, working 2 jobs, tired all the time. Okay, that describes a lot of us, right? Okay, or even working 1 job, or even just going to school can be tiresome. Okay, but we have a series of fragments there. Okay, series of fragments. All right, and all of these have a couple things in common. All right, first thing they have in common is they don't have a subject. Okay, and I think a lot of times a mistake that we make as writers is we'll say this part in our head. We'll say this part in our head, or we'll expect our reader to understand what we meant. Okay, now we getting there. Okay, now, so a lot of times, when we have a fragment in our essay, we can look, right? Am I missing a subject? Okay. Am I missing a predicate? Okay. But again, another way to gauge, right? Check to see if it expresses a complete thought. All right. And now we got 2 sentences right here, right? Okay. Either in the chat or you can say it. Okay. 2 sentences here. One of them is a fragment, okay? Or one of them, I'll put it like this to use like to use Englishy terms, okay? One of these is an independent clause, meaning it could stand by itself and make sense. The other is a dependent clause, meaning it depends on something to either come before it or after it in order for it to make sense. So what say the folks? Which of these, the first sentence or the second sentence, which of those is the complete sentence?
Complete sentence is the first one.
Okay. When I finally saw my schedule, I had 4 morning classes. Oh man, why would you do that to yourself? Okay. Yes, because it has all these essential elements. All right. What about this one though? Mm-hmm. Can this stand by itself and make sense?
Yeah, if you take the second one and say that to yourself, it doesn't sound totally right. Missing a little something.
And I'm glad you said that too, Andrew, because that's a great way, to revise. Say it to yourself or read it to yourself. Okay. And then you said, it can't stand by itself and make sense. So if we got rid of this, okay, a big change from high school, right? Now, okay, now, easy fix. Put our subject in here and a verb. Okay, easy fix, right? It was a big change from high school, or you can get more specific. Okay. So sometimes the fix, okay, adding a subject. Okay. Sometimes the fix, adding a verb. Sometimes the fix is, checking to see, or how can I make this express a complete thought, just like Andrew just told us. Okay. But now let's see what our book has to say about all this. All right. If you have it open, let's go to page 318. And I just took the shortcut here. I just went to in our textbook. Okay. Classes 1500. In our textbook, I just went down to all the way down to sentence fragments. And it took me here. Okay. Now, all right. Material we just talked about. Sentence needs at least one independent clause. This is a good thing about our ebook. Bam. Okay. Subject and a phrase containing the subject and a verb that can stand alone as a sentence. Now, if you look at the length of the sentence they use, though, right? Very short. She sang. Subject, predicate, okay? And it expresses a complete thought. So don't fall under the misconception that a complete sentence has to be long. And the flip side of that is don't think that because a sentence is long, that it can't be a fragment, okay? If it doesn't express a complete thought, or if it doesn't include a subject and a predicate, doesn't matter how long it is, all right? Let's look at these examples, okay? They tell you the answers right here, though. Okay. The catcher batted fifth, fouled out, ending the inning. Okay. Again, I think sometimes we make this mistake because the part of this sentence that's missing, there may be a tendency to say it in our head. All right. Or just make that assumption that, hey, my reader figured this out. You can turn this into one sentence. The catcher batted fifth, but he fouled out, ending the inning. Okay. So when your sentence is missing a subject, who? Okay, who performed the action? Okay. Or I used to always say if you look at the subject as the actor and the verb as the action. Okay, but you need both. You need actor and action. Okay. And then the first 2 batters walked. Manny Ramirez again. What did Man Ram do again? Okay. And then it says a subordinating word needs a subordinating word, but in essence, this one does not express a complete thought. Although the Yankees loaded the bases, you set your reader up for something to come next. Although the Yankees loaded the bases, the next batter still struck out, right? Okay. Now, all right. Oh man. Okay. Speaking of subordinating words, here's one I see a lot. Okay. I see this one. This is like the most of the subordinating words. This is the most frequent one I see. Last semester, I had to take a second job. Here's our fragment. Okay, and then just as a rule of just as a rule to keep in mind moving forward, if you're not asking a question like which one is it, or which store do you want to go to, or something of that nature, if you're not asking a question, when you start a sentence with which, it's very likely it's going to be a fragment. Very likely, almost 100%. I'm trying to think of an instance where which wouldn't give you a fragment. All right, other than posing questions. Okay, so last semester I had to take a second job. Okay, all right, you can just join these two lovebirds together. Okay. Now, these are the two examples from above. All right, so when we say who filed out, we're just putting the subject in. He filed out, ending the ending. Same thing. The first two batters walked. Manny Ramirez walked again. Okay. I would there's a lot of ways to fix this. I would go with comma in a coordinating conjunction with this one,
Can you
but
say Manny Ramirez was one of them?
the first two batters walked. I would still do the same thing, Myra. I would go comma and Manny
Okay.
Ramirez was one of them.
Okay.
Okay. Now another way, to fix, just join. It's the same what we just did, Myron and others. Sometimes a good way to fix, a fragment is, to join. Or if we look at this one, or you can condense it even more. All right. So sometimes, and I can't remember if it was this class or the next class, but sometimes I will even suggest, on your papers, like, consider joining, these two sentences. All right. One of them is a fragment, or one of them is a dependent clause. So just join it to what, to what comes either before or after it. All right. Now, okay, we'll come back to intentional fragments. All right. Sometimes you can have an intentional fragment, but for us right now, we want to just do it by the book so far, so to speak. Okay. Now, okay. I know that was a quick lesson, and we're gonna there's like a little bit left, or maybe 15 minutes left, and I want to just introduce something else. Okay, so we can pick this discussion up on Wednesday. I'll show you all some more examples. All right. So fragments, right, are sentences that are either missing a subject, a verb, or they don't express a complete thought. Okay. You're missing a subject, verb, or not expressing a complete thought. So if you're looking back at your paper, especially draft number 2, because like I was saying, I wasn't looking that hard, at this material on this draft. But when you see something that's highlighted in green, I may even fix the first one for you. But if you see something that's highlighted in green, ask yourself, okay, what's this sentence missing? Do I have a subject? Meaning, do I have an actor or someone performing an action, right? Do I have a predicate? The phrase containing the verb, all right, or the action phrase, right? And then does this express a complete thought? Okay, does this sentence express a complete thought? All right, and if you're unsure, take it to a tutor, right? Have someone else read it. Okay, and I say that because a lot of times what we make sense or what we write makes sense to us, because we're the author. All right, now. Okay. All right. I have been at OCC for 12 years. It is my favorite job that I have had. Okay. And by favorite, I mean it's the only job that I've ever liked. No. All right. So I have been at OCC for 12 years. It is my favorite job that I have ever had. That is great. Okay. But this, good people, is a run on sentence, or as our textbook calls it, it's a fused sentence. What is a fused sentence? A fused sentence is a sentence that slaps two complete sentences together with no punctuation, two or more complete sentences together. Okay. Because we can keep this thing going. Okay. Now we have like one giant super sentence here. All right. I've been at OCC for 12 years. It is my favorite job that I have had. I love working with my students. It is especially gratifying to see them overcome their personal struggles. Okay, man, that is great. That's great that you like that. Okay, but we got to break this thing down because we have several independent clauses here, meaning groups of words that contain or phrases that contain a subject and predicate that can stand alone and make sense. Okay. I have been at OCC for 12 years. Now, if we put a comma here, if we just insert a comma here, all willy-nilly, okay, that will give you a comma splice. Comma splice is something that we want to avoid. So inserting a comma between two complete sentences, comma splice. Okay, comma splice. Comma splice, no bueno. All right, no good. All right, so I have been at OCC for 12 years. Now, there's a couple ways to fix comma splices and run-ons. Okay, a couple ways to fix it. One, we can keep the comma. Okay, if you remember Saturday morning cartoons, right? Conjunction, junction. All right. We can add a coordinating conjunction. Okay, coordinating conjunctions are these. All right, these are our most common coordinating conjunctions. Okay, they work. All right, so here's one way to fix. Okay, I have been at OCC for 12 years. Here's the end of one independent clause or one complete sentence. And instead of only using a comma, we're going to use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. I have been at OCC for 12 years, and it is my favorite job that I have had. Okay, another way to fix run-ons, separation. Make one sentence into two sentences. Okay, I have been at OCC for 12 years, and it is my favorite job that I have ever had. That I have had. That I have ever had. Okay, we'll say it like that. I love working with my students. Okay. Here's another way to fix. So now we're up to two ways, right? We got comma and coordinating conjunction. We got separation. Another way to fix is this. Semicolon. Semicolons can be used to join two complete sentences. The thing about the semicolon, though, while this is technically right, stylistically, right, it may not always be the best option. I love working with my students. It is especially gratifying. Okay, so we can go separation, or again, just like we did there, we can go comma and coordinating conjunction. All right, make sure you're using the right tool for the job if you're using, one of these. It is especially gratifying to see them overcome their personal struggles. Okay. A fourth option, we got comma, coordinating conjunction, we got separation, we got the semicolon. Another option could be just to reword the sentence or like condense. Okay. Meaning like say all this in one short sentence. Maybe a couple short sentences. Favorite job that I've had is working. I will probably revise that and say it a little bit differently, but we covered most of this ground in one sentence. Okay. Well, sometimes I make stuff up, so let's go to our textbook. No. Okay. So comma splice, just what I said, right? A comma splice occurs when two or more independent clauses follow one another with only a comma between them. Basically, slapping two independent clauses or two complete sentences together with the comma. Okay. T.S. Eliot is best known for his poetry. He also wrote several plays. Okay. That one you can go coordinating conjunction, but he also wrote several plays. Okay. And then a few sentence, two independent clauses together with no punctuation. School board debated the issue for 3 days. They were unable to reach an agreement. Okay. Again, coordinated conjunction will work there as well, or a comma and coordinated conjunction will work there well. But they were unable to reach an agreement. Okay. Yeah. And this is what I was saying. Separation's an option. Okay. Get rid of that comma, swap it out for a period, and then, go with the capital letter here. My favorite, and I like coordinating conjunctions because, they just help a paper, a sentence, a paragraph. They just help it flow smoother. All right. So for me, and this is just a personal thing, for me, coordinated conjunctions work best for style points. Okay. The school board debated the issue for 3 days, comma, coordinated conjunction, but they were unable to reach an agreement. Okay. And then the semicolon, like I said, the semicolon, technically correct, but sometimes there are just better options, from a style perspective. Okay. Now, okay, that was a lot. I know. Okay. Now, kind people. Okay. I'm gonna do it right now. let's all right, 90, I don't want 90. Yeah, let's go 90 for Wednesday, folks. And to get here, okay, I went back to our home screen for for our textbook, and I went inquisitive for writers. And here's these two assignments, okay? Fragments, comma splices. For right now, when you do these assignments, don't worry about how you score, okay? We're still in practice mode. And as I was explaining this a long time ago, when we first introduced this thing, remember that you have to answer at least 10 of these. You can keep going, but you have to answer at least 10 questions to get a score. All right. And I'm just going to show you, okay, what to do. I ain't reading no directions. You should though. Okay. No, always read the directions. Okay. So here's how this thing works. All right. And I know we covered this ground before, but first thing, and I was joking a second ago, but I do want you to read the directions for these things because sometimes it'll just ask you the same thing, but just in a different way. Introversion, the tendency toward inner reflection, is arguably a good leadership quality. Okay. When it is paired with self-motivation. So we got two sentences here. One of them is a fragment, or one of them is an independent clause, and one of them is a dependent clause or a fragment. All right. And from these options, you just have to drag the one in here that fits. Okay. Waiting on y'all, folks. No, just A. We'll call this an A, B, C, and then no errors will be D. What do you think, folks? A, B, or C, or D? You can put it in the chat, or you can shout it out.
I don't think nothing is wrong.
No errors. Okay. Do I hear a second for no errors?
I'd say B.
Okay. B. Semicolon. Okay. What else we got going on, folks? Any A's? No A. Okay. What about C?
I was thinking C, but I'm not sure.
Man, trust your gut. No, trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. Okay. So it's C. All right. Now, but let's look at C, right? When we read it all together. Introversion, the tendency toward inner reflection, is arguably a good leadership quality when it is paired with self-motivation, right? So we just put it all together. Okay, but it's cool. Prom, way too expensive these days. All right, prom, a long-standing tradition of high school seniors in the US, is losing its appeal for many families as the price to attend rises. Okay, an average of over $1,000 paid by either parents or students. Okay, hopefully the student has a job. All right. Nah, prom's too expensive. $1,000? Crazy. Crazy. All right. Now,
I'm still in class.
okay. When you get it wrong, my good people, here's the thing, right?
Zoom meeting now too.
Go review the lesson. Okay, go review the lesson and then come back and try it again. Okay. Now, what I just said, folks. Say it again.
I'm great, and yourself? Good. Excuse the camera. I'm in class. Still, my class ran over a little bit. So I'm still in class on the other end, but I got it recorded. I got.
Okay. All right. So, don't worry about your score. Okay. If you want, 100%, you can keep going until you get to 100%, but you only have to answer 10 of these, and whatever your score is, once you get to 10, you can keep going to improve it, or you can just call it that. And whatever you do though, just take the lesson. Okay, so that one has been assigned, that sentence fragments, and then here's one, comma splices. Okay, the format's the same. All right. Of course I didn't read it. Okay. Semicolon, here's a comma, all this good stuff. All right. 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled bans on same-sex marriage unconstitutional. Okay. That is one complete thought. This decision forced states to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples who apply. Okay. That's another complete thought. So we have a comma jammed in here, and that gives us a comma splice. Okay. And I say they're complete thoughts. Each one of these sentences could stand by itself and make sense. Okay.
Now for that, could you use the first selection? Could you use the semicolon to fix that, or would that not be proper?
Tell me. What are your instincts saying?
I mean, the instincts were first saying semicolon, but you also said that it wasn't the best advisable choice.
No, it's the
far as
semicolon is
style.
right. But I was saying like just for style points.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But you're right though. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. All right. Let's go with another one. All right. People who are deaf or hard of hearing can choose to have devices surgically implanted in their inner ears. One independent clause. The implants do not allow people to hear sounds naturally. Okay. Oh yeah.
Period.
Okay.
Gotta be a period.
That it is that would be right, Myron, but it's not one of our options. Like this one, let's see. Okay, this one, okay, though the implants do not, that would, that would give us a fragment. That would make this one into a fragment.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Oh, I'm
Now-
catching. I understand now. They
Yeah.
both got to be independent. However, okay, I got it. I got
Absolutely.
it.
Okay, and you almost just said the right answer.
However,
Okay.
right,
All right.
right.
Okay. So
I got
now,
it.
folks, however you're scoring, that's not what this assignment is about. Okay. This assignment is about learning. Okay. So I keep stating, and how I score these, you score what you score on here. But when I put the grades into D2L, I just, I give scores based on completion. Right. So practice. Okay. Fragments, comma splices. Okay. Fragments, comma splices. Don't put pressure on yourself. This is all about learning. Okay. It's all about learning. All right. And I'll make a note of this on D2L as well once I get today's class uploaded. Okay. What time? Oh, yeah. That's enough grammar for today. I don't want to give anybody a sentence overdose. Okay. that material is good in small doses. All right. Now, let's meet again Wednesday, folks. Okay. Just a few quick things, and this is kind of retroactive, but if you go back into the week 3 module, there's some stuff about sentences. These videos, I think I may even put the link on a few of you all's papers. This guy, Sean McLeod, doesn't he look like he knows everything about sentences? All right, but all right. But he makes these little 2 to 3 minute videos, and they're like great. They're great breakdowns for a short time. Like he packs a lot of content. So if you go back, to the week 3 module, there's one on run-ons and comma splice, and then there's one on fragments. Okay, so check those out. Okay, and then, of course, okay, reading questions available. All right, not due until next week though, but if you want to get cracking on them, okay, they're there. Okay, let's do it again Wednesday, people. All right, have a great day.
Sounds good. See you then.
Yeah, I will get this course uploaded, or this session uploaded, along with just some recapping of some stuff. All right.
Hopefully Sarah will be with us Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
All
All right.
Have a good one.
Everybody needs a day.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Oh, last thing, if you didn't get your paper in, get that in ASAP. All right.